15 years since the Cup and League double was last achieved. This afternoon, with 2 goals right at the start and at the end of a hard-fought game, Dundalk now take the Cup to the border to share a pride of place in their trophy room with a league title. For Dundalk manager Jim McLaughlin, today's win another chapter in his successful tenure with the club. And for unlucky Waterford, again failure to lay a cup hoodoo that has now left them without a success in the tournament for 42 years.
Sligo had to come at us, and they were coming at us hard. And I think it was Paddy Dunning headed the ball, kind of headed it down at the edge of the box, our own box, and Sean Byrne hit it long. And I was standing at the halfway line with the centre half, and it went over our heads. And I turned and went, and you know, I had the pace to beat the centre half. You have to make sure you put it in. And just as I came to the edge of the box, the ball bobbled up. I just managed to clip it over him, and as I did so, I ran into the keeper. And but I just saw it nestled in the net, so I was more than happy to see that. And it was one of the, I suppose, one of the highlights when you consider that, you know, for me, I had a situation where I had the nightmare where I was told I'd never play again. So for me, all of the games that I played in were just a bonus.
It's all over, and Dundalk, for the first time in 6 years, are the Opal League of Ireland champions. Pat Fenlon scored the opener for Pats after 7 minutes from the penalty spot, but Desi Gorman's equaliser from Martin Lawler's free kick was sufficient to gain the point that has brought the title back to Dundalk for the first time since 1982. And Turlough O'Connor, a league winner as a player with Bohemians, a league winner as a manager with Athlone Town, has done it again in County Down.
Well, I mean, it's so important, isn't it, the league championship? And Pats wanted to win it so badly, but we had gone through 32 matches before that. We had been top of the league for so long. We had lost it, we had battled back. There was nobody going to take it from us or our supporters tonight. The support here in Dundalk was fantastic.
Now stuck it. Held fairly by Shelley. And rolled into the path of McNulty. And Tom McNulty has got the goal! And a quite remarkable score from a quite remarkable goal scorer. Tom McNulty, who scored the very first goal against Cork City in the League of Ireland, has now got the goal that could deny them their very first League of Ireland championship. And that is that. Final score from Turner's Cross. Cork City 0, Dundalk 1, and the 1991 Bord Gáis League of Ireland champions are Dundalk. And the championship trophy, the Bord Gáis League of Ireland, is presented by Mr. Michael Connell, the chairman of our Bord Gáis, to the captain of the winners in there with a big smile on his face. Not the first time he's got a championship medal, that's for sure. Martin Lawler of Dundalk, a champion.
Positive side. Flanagan. Boy. Haylock. Haylock, yes, 1-1. Gary Haylock, who rattled in 2 against Shamrock Rovers in the semi-final, has got Dundalk their equaliser. McGuinness, it's there, Gary Haylock again. 4 minutes of the second half gone, and once again, under aerial threat, Bohemians' defence proves brittle.
We saw it in the first half when Dundalk had a few free headers. That distinguished trophy. 80 years it's been competed for. Dundalk have won it again. The FAI Carlsberg Cup for 2002. And it belongs to Dundalk.
Can he set one up here? Can he score one? Oh, you bet he can! 4 minutes played, an explosive start to this League Cup final. Dane Massey, what a brilliant goal!
Back again it comes, it's Tao, and O'Donnell! And Stephen O'Donnell breaks the deadlock. Coming out of the second row to rifle the shot home, and the returning captain, back after 6 months out with injury, scores the goal that puts the Dundalk back on top of the table.
For Gannon. Gannon's cross. Oh, wonderful arrival, McElhinney! That's a run from the deep and a half, and that's a goal and a half. Patrick McElhinney, 2-1, Dundalk.
Yeah, I said earlier on, he hasn't been in the game, but he is capable of scoring goals. That's the one thing he has. And we spoke about that as well, Cork having all the play.
It's another double. It's Dundalk's day in the FAI Cup.
A chance for Chris Shields to win it for Dundalk. He sent the keeper the wrong way. And for the 7th time, Dundalk are crowned the EA Sports Cup champions. The first since 2017. 2-2 at the end of normal and extra time. Dundalk wins 6-5 on penalties.
And for the 5th time in the last 6 seasons, Dundalk are the champions. And rightly so. Amazing achievement. I mean, this team could go down as probably one of the greatest, John, because what they've achieved has been absolutely phenomenal. 5 out of 6 is serious numbers, and you look at the great teams of the past, you know, the Rovers, the Colts and all that, and Waterford 4 in a row, or 4 out of 5, Shells 3 out of 5, Pats 2 out of 4. This side is 5 out of 6. Phenomenal achievement by a phenomenal bunch of players.
Fairness, look, they hang on it, Rovers. Sneak away,
Flores looking for Kelly. Mount Kelly. Man through the middle is McMillan. And a cup final hat-trick for David McMillan. And that surely is that.
There's not many of them could win a hat-trick here, I suppose. A brilliant finish, was a great play from Dundalk. Rovers foiling it.
And for 2020,
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and wow, we were hoping to get a bit of a crowd, but this is phenomenal, I have to say, and thank you all for coming along. Obviously, you all know the importance and the reason and why we're here. So, my name is Jerry Lennon, and look, we're just going to go through some of the detail of how we've come this far and what has brought us here tonight. So just take a couple of minutes, bear with me, and we'll give you a rundown. Those of us who were watching the latest crisis, we faced a dilemma. Do we sit idly by, potentially see Dundalk Football Club die? Or do we as a community take action to save it? Everyone here tonight wants to save our football club. We're proposing a new perpetual trust to play a central, essential role in doing so. Supporters must have a say from now on. Let this be our last crisis. The decision to form the trust as a limited company was taken at a meeting of concerned fans on Saturday the 5th of October 2024. The name Dundalk FC Supporters Trust, CLG, that's Company Limited Under Guarantee, was chosen. Decision was unanimous by those who attended. These are the people who were there on the day. Frank Carlin, Cormac Gartlin, Rachel Carley, David Lennon, Jerry Lennon, Kieran Lennon, Paddy Malone, John McCardle, Tony McBride, Seamus McGowan, Conor McKenna, Jimmy Neary, Stephen Neary, Brendan Ogle, John Bobby Ogle, Tony O'Kane, Rory O'Murcoo, Derek Pepper, Francis Riley. The initial draft of the trust proposal was first given to the 1903 Dundalk FC Supporters Club by Brendan Ogle and Tony O'Kane on the 25th of September 24, which was well received. The 1903 committee subsequently met with the new Dundalk FC owner, John Temple. The 1903 then informed us that he did not want any new supporter-led fundraising initiatives to commence until at least Christmas. Those of us who were involved in the meeting in October on the 5th believe that due to the dire situation that Dundalk FC was in, we didn't have time to wait, so we needed to form the trust as soon as possible. The 1903 were advised that this meeting was taking place. We would like the 1903 to support this essential perpetual trust initiative. The trust is now incorporated as Dundalk FC Supporters Trust, CLG, company number 773621. A website is under development, dfcsupporterstrust.ie, with linked email addresses and social media platforms. Our bank account is now open. So thank you to all that are here tonight in attendance, and you're here to hope and shape, we hope to shape the trust going forward. You will be hopefully the members from here on. Thank you. We're now going to explain in detail the answers to many of the questions that we have received over the last week or so through email and text. And we will then have some endorsements, and later then we'll open the floor to questions and answers. So I'm just going to hand you over now to Elaine and Stephen, who are going to give us a run through of the frequently asked questions.
I'm just going to start from the start. These are the questions that were emailed in over the last week to, like Jerry said, the text and the email that was set up. I'll just start off with number one. And why is the trust set up as a limited company under guarantee? The previous trust effort was not incorporated and simply disappeared. This is a perpetual trust to help with all future issues. Only a legal body, properly constituted and professionally run, can contract and deliver what is required while reporting and accounting for all monies received in the manner proposed. It is envisaged that the Trust will ultimately be involved in big projects and large expenditure required professional, legal and financial expertise.
Who are the Trust's interim directors? The three interim directors at the moment are Jerry Lennon, John Bobby Ogle and Tony McBride, who is the Trust Secretary.
And who will run the Trust and how will decisions be made? The Trust is open to everybody who wishes to subscribe financially. All members will have an equal vote within the Trust. All members are eligible to join the board or committee if elected. All members will vote on the Constitution. And the member-elected board or committee will operate the Trust on a day-to-day basis, accountable to the members through the Constitution.
What will the Trust funds be used for? 100% of Trust funds are dedicated solely to the support and development of Dundalk Football Club, to assist and maintain the Dundalk FC Academy, meet certain agreed expenses, emergency funding, ground development, leveraging Trust assets to ensure the proper running of our football club. All this will be done legal entity from the football club. If that question arose in the future, the role of the Trust can then be legally changed in accordance with our Constitution as adopted by the Trust members at the first members' meeting.
How will the Trust ensure that this is open, transparent and democratic? The Trust will be run by a board or committee elected by the members. It will have at least 9 members. This board or committee will manage the Trust directly by the members and the Constitution. This board or committee will be elected by the members at a meeting to be held as soon as possible and at all AGMs thereafter. All those who have paid subscriptions or who have set up standing orders will be full voting members in year 1. All members will have 1 vote each, regardless of the chosen level of contribution.
This elected board or committee will manage all funds. A bank account in the name Dundalk FC Supporters Trust CLG has been opened in AIB Dundalk branch. There will be 3 signatories on the account whose authority is required to operate the account. All payments from the account over €1,000 must be authorised by 2 of the 3 signatories by bank mandate. Quarterly updates will be provided to all members. An AGM will receive an annual report and financial accounts. A copy of the financial report and accounts will be sent to all members in advance of the AGM.
The accounts will be prepared by an external independent accountant and will detail all income received and payments made. Following approval by the AGM, the accounts will be submitted to the company's registration office together with the annual return. These rigorous provisions will allow the members to be part of a professional, open, accountable and democratic perpetual trust, placing us all as the future guardians of our football club.
Will Trust funds be used for SCARP or current Dundalk Football Club debts? No. All trust funds can only be used for future expenditure and projects incurred after our first membership meeting and adoption of our constitution. These expenditures and projects will only be decided upon going forward by the board or committee elected by trust members in accordance with the constitution, as adopted by the trust members at the first membership meeting.
What happens to the funds held by the trust if the Dundalk Football Club ceases to exist? The trust will make every effort to maintain the existence of the Dundalk Football Club. Should this not be possible, the Dundalk FC Supporters Trust, CLG, will be wound up in accordance with the company law, and all remaining funds will be returned to members on a pro rata basis.
Was John Temple and the 1903 Dundalk FC Supporters Club invited to this meeting? This is a public meeting, open to absolutely everybody, and has been widely advertised. There have been no invitations issued to anybody. The Trust is satisfied that all parties are aware of this meeting and are free to attend.
If the Dundalk Football Club requests funds for something the Trust doesn't agree with, who decides what happens? The Trust is 100% independent of all owners. All Trust funds are managed in accordance with the Constitution by the elected board or committee. The Trust funds are 100% available to the football club on agreed terms. The Trust would discuss this matter with the Dundalk Football Club and seek agreed terms ensuring good governance. The final decision rests with the Trust members through its elected board or committee.
What are the contribution levels for membership? The interim directors have set 3 initial contribution levels for members. They're as follows. Level 1, €1,000 or greater upfront payment, 19.23 weekly or 83.33 monthly through a standing order, direct debit or other. Option 2, €520 or greater upfront payment, €10 weekly, 43.33 monthly through standing order or other. And option 3, €260 or greater upfront payment, €5 weekly or 21.66 monthly contribution through standing order or other. All upfront payments will provide early funding and momentum to the Trust.
Who decides and votes on the Trust's constitution? The board, committee, make-up, and when? Only Trust members will attend Trust meetings and vote on these and other matters. The first membership meeting will be held as soon as practicable. Membership is open to any person, business or household making a contribution under any of the contribution options. Each contributor is an equal voting member of the Trust.
What happens next? Membership is open from tonight. All members who have joined will be invited to the first membership meeting on a date to be confirmed. At that meeting, the first constitution will be discussed, debated and voted on. This will allow the first Trust board or committee to be formally elected. The Trust will then be immediately up and running in time to be an available resource over the challenging close season ahead.
So how do I join? Pledge forms to join the Trust are available for completion on your way out of the auditorium. You can also join by emailing us at membership@dfcsupporterstrust.ie, or you can join by messaging via SMS and WhatsApp your name and pledge amount to 085 812 4545.
All links will be on social media after the meeting this evening.
And the online payment links will be available on our social media this evening.
Hello everyone. Sorry I won't be with you on Friday night in the Town Hall for the meeting of the Dundalk FC Supporters Trust. I'm here in Spain at the moment, but I want to give this my full backing. We have great people on board for us in the Trust, and we're getting great support from former players, and managers. I'll just read out some of the people that have contacted the club and give it a full backing. We have Dermot Keeley, Martin Lawler, David Crawley, Tom McNulty, John Gill, Chris Shields, Alan Moline, and many others. I hope you all have a great night, and I'm sure it'll be a tremendous success. See you all next week when I'm back home.
Dundalk FC Supporters Trust are holding a meeting in the Town Hall on Friday. I appeal to all fans to attend. The boom and bust must end. We need a new model. A great club can't go under. As Maxie would say, greatness.
Hi all, Giller here. Just a quick message to encourage all Dundalk fans and people from the town to get behind the new Dundalk FC Supporters Trust movement, which is getting off the ground this Friday evening in the town hall. I'd implore everybody to get behind this trust. I think it's a great opportunity for supporters and all people who have a grow for the club to have some sort of say and influence on the club going forward. It's been a really disappointing week, hard to stomach, but I think this trust can be the start of something great and give us a chance to try and rebuild the club with the supporters who are the lifeblood of the club getting behind it. I'd implore everybody to give it the support it deserves, and I wish everybody behind the trust the best of luck this Friday at the meeting.
Hi guys, I'd like to encourage everyone to get behind the Dundalk FC Supporters Trust. I think a time has come now that we all need to waken up and realise that we can't rely on just one person to run the club, and I think supporters need to get behind the one venture, and it can benefit the club hugely if as many supporters get on board. I think it's important after what happened in 2012 with Save Our Club and what's happening now. I think it's a total shock, and nothing like this can ever happen again. I think that supporters need to waken up, and we all need to get on board on the one idea, because if we do, then going forward this won't happen again. The trust idea will be hugely beneficial for the club, whether it's the local academy or whether it's stadium development. We can help provide that once we get as much support as possible. So please everyone just get behind it, support it, and come on to town.
Hey everyone, Flannel here. Just a quick message to try and get as many people as possible to try and get behind the new supporters trust for the club. I think we were all saddened on Friday when relegation was finally upon us, but I think we all know that this is probably the least of our problems at the minute. A lot of you are involved in the club a lot longer than I am. I've nearly 25 years that the club is a special place in my heart, and very sad to see what's going on at the minute. And I think it's at a stage where if we want the club to be there in the future, we're going to have to be proactive and get some things in motion to ensure this position doesn't come around again. I know it's cycles and people say ups and downs, but this seems a little bit worse, and I think something has to be done off the field to try and ensure that there's structures in place to help the club live long beyond any of us. So again, if you can, whatever way you can, try and support the new trust.
Hi guys, Paul Crowley here. Just a quick message just to wish the Dundalk Supporters Trust the very best in what's going to be a really tough task. But what will be helped is the help of people in the town and surrounding areas. It's going to take serious work. This is more, unfortunately, than just a relegation. It's just the stuff that's going on in the club in the background as well. So it's going to be a tough task, but I've no doubt, after enjoying success myself up in Dundalk and knowing what football means to people in the town, I've no doubt they'll get back. And this is just a cycle, because this happens to all the top teams. But people do dig in, and supporters do dig in, and people around the surrounding areas will dig in. The Premier Division will never be the same without a Louth derby. I've spoke to many people in Drogheda, and as much as some will sing they're happy about their rivals, not going to be there. Most don't. Most want to see a Loud derby. I've been lucky enough to play on both sides of it, and it's a fantastic occasion for supporters and players, and unfortunately that's not going to be there next year. But as I said, you know, we're hoping that everybody can get behind this, you know, and push it on, because what will happen, it'll push things on a little bit quicker the more backing it has. And as I've said, I've no doubt people in the town will rally behind this. It's just about everybody chipping in, and even in your small bit, if you can, it'll help in these situations. But again, I'd just like to wish everybody involved the very best in the near future in getting behind this and getting that Dundalk back to where they belong. Thanks, guys. All the best.
How's it going, everyone? Just wanted to send a quick message to wish the best of luck to the Dundalk FC Supporters Trust on their launch night tonight at their town hall meeting. This is something that's been long overdue from supporters of Dundalk Football Club to help safeguard the club, and yeah, I just think it's a fantastic idea. I know I'll be supporting it however I can financially, but it's all about now. It's about fans getting together and banding together to make sure that, you know, Dundalk FC survives this season, next season, the future, and hopefully with the money raised they can go into kind of vital areas like the academy, the redevelopment of Oriel Park, and things that will enhance the experience for supporters, but also can drive revenue towards the club in the future. So yeah, just a quick message to say best of luck. Sorry I couldn't be there. I'd love to be involved tonight, but yeah, just hope everything goes well, and best of luck to everyone involved.
How you doing? Just a quick message from myself to say good luck to everyone involved in the launch of the Dundalk FC Supporters Trust on Friday in the town hall. Such an important thing to have in place, to have the safeguarding of the club in the future, no matter what division we're in, Premier, First Division. The main thing is that Dundalk FC is always there. I think this is a great way to raise funds, and for the supporters who are the heartbeat of the club to have a good say. And look, best of luck to everyone going forward with the Dundalk FC Supporters Trust, and as ever, come on to town. Best of luck, everyone.
Hi, Alan O'Neill here. We all know that Dundalk Football Club are in serious trouble. I had spent 8 great years up in Oriel Park. I know what the club means to the supporters, but I also know what it means to the people of the town. I'll always remember the time when we paraded League and Cup in 1988 through the town, and the crowds that gathered to support the team. Now the club needs that support more than ever. It would be great to see everyone get behind the new trust being set up, so that the supporters have a say in how the club is run. Yes, we need the investors involved, big investors, but we need you, the people. Please get behind the trust. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name's Tom McNulty, and I've been lucky enough to represent Dundalk as a football player during the 80s and the 90s. I'm just doing a quick video here to let all the Dundalk supporters know about the Dundalk Football Trust. They're trying to raise money to help put a team on the pitch for next season. It's a cause that's well worthy to get behind, and I would urge every supporter to try and turn up for the meeting on Friday evening at 7:30 in the town hall. It's very important that we all get behind this venture. The club needs everybody behind them, and they need our support. So I would urge everyone to try and take one of the packages that are available through the trust. And for anybody that has any questions, it was vitally important and that you turn up for the meeting on Friday evening. I'll certainly be taking out one of the packages available, and I think it's very important that we can get behind the club at this time. Thank you.
Hi, Vinny Part here. I want to wish the trust the very best of luck. I know there's a lot of work to be done, a lot of hard work in terms of where the club is at, but it's rebuildable. And when you look at the top 3 in the league at the moment, Shelbourne, Derry and Shamrock Rovers in the last 20 years have all been First Division clubs. So you can turn that into a positive and bounce back and be brilliant again. Under Kenny's era, Dundalk was on the map in Europe. Now we just got to get back on the map in the community and in League of Ireland circles again and be a positive news story. Remember, everything that's good about Dundalk comes from the local community. I've seen that and I felt that when I was there. So I just wish everyone the very best of luck. Anything myself or any ex-players can do, we will. We spent such a long time there and so successful. We owe so much back to that community. So any way we can help, people should reach out, and I just wish the club the very, very best. And it feels like it needs something different now, and maybe the trust is that, and hopefully it is. So very best of luck to everybody. As I said, the good times will come again once we get through this period. So very best of luck.
Good evening all. Martin Lawler here. I really enjoyed playing for the community of Dundalk for all of those years. It brought such richness to my life, all the relationships that I gained in my life with the people of Dundalk, the community of Dundalk. And I always felt that the club was about the community of Dundalk. The players were always honoured beyond comprehension to wear the crest. So I just wanted to start with that. What has happened has happened. Unfortunately, the sadness has resulted in recriminations, but the time now is to think in a forward direction. What has happened has happened. I would urge everybody connected with the club to use the creative space in their minds to put together positive thinking around how the club can be secured firstly, and then you build on that platform, on that secure platform, to move forward. And out of an absolute tragedy that has happened can come the absolutely critical, vital and knowledgeable lessons about what not to do going forward. There has to be accountability. There has to be transparency. People know that. We're all intelligent. The supporters are intelligent. So I am wishing the Supporters Trust the very, very, very best wishes, with all my support and my love of the club and the community of Dundalk behind those best wishes. And I know that Dundalk will emerge great again in terms of trophies, in terms of competing, in terms of being back in Europe. I have no doubt that this will happen. It will happen on people's positive, creative thinking with transparency, accountability, and leaving the past in the past. Have a great evening, guys. Have a fruitful meeting. Unfortunately, I won't be there due to another very strong commitment that I had to make. Nothing would have pleased me more than to be able to attend and be with you guys. But I am there in spirit, and I've made this little note this evening just to let everybody know that you have my full support. So very, very best wishes to everybody who is attending the meeting, everybody in the community who's wishing Dundalk a future success, because it will happen if we think positively together. Well done to the trust, well done to the people who are coming in and supporting the trust, and I'm sure when it does get off the ground, it will attract an amazing amount of outside support from an economic point of view to give stability to the trust, so that the trust can in turn execute on its mission to support the club in future successful years going forward. Have a great evening, guys. Well done.
2. Okay, hello everybody. Michael Duffy here. You'll probably hear me every home game. Mostly you won't see me, which is probably a good thing. Somebody once said I had a great face for radio, so I thumbs up to that. But listen, what a fantastic, fantastic presentation this evening. And of course, the video of the... And I just have to repeat a quote I heard during the footage of our history, all those fantastic nights in Oriel Park and other places. Somebody said, I would have actually paid in to see that. And I have to concur, I would have paid good money to see that too. But we have Jerry, Tony, and Bobby on the stage. This is a Q&A. And I know a lot of questions were addressed with the presentation on the screen already, so we don't want sort of any replication, that the questions were asked and answered. But we obviously understand that there are a lot more questions to be asked. So this is a Q&A from the floor. So basically if you want to ask a question, just put your hand up. I'll pass the mic over to you, but please give your name first before you ask the question. It's that simple. So with that, the questions will be answered by our panel up here, Jerry, Tony, and Bobby. So somebody got a question up at the back here. I'm going to have to do a bit of running here this evening. Actually, I'll come to you in a second. I have a question here.
How you doing, lads? Peter Coleman's my name. I'll definitely be joining the trust, whatever way we could go forward with the club. I think it's a brilliant idea. I would like to see in the future of us all gathering in the trust, if we get a good lot of money together, I'd really like to see someone approach the Casey family and buying Oriel Park, that we could do what we want then in the future of building our own stadium, because I seem to think that if we go forward and keep putting money into a place that's not ours, I think it's a waste. So I think the biggest objective we have here is, I'd love to see us own an Oriel Park, that we could move forward and build what we want. Thanks.
Thanks.
Do you want to address that, Jerry?
Yeah, just briefly. Thanks very much, Peter. Look, it's project-based stuff that we'd be very, very keen to support. That's the end we want. Everybody knows Oriel Park's a problem. It's going to remain that. It needs to be addressed. So we would see this as a massive opportunity for whatever owners are out there to engage with us and to allow us to be part of the funding of whatever, be it refurb, new build, whatever needs to be done. That's something we would be very keen to get involved in. And it shouldn't be, you know, I mean, why would anybody not want that? That's what we all want. in relation to owning the ground, ironically, probably if we owned it at the minute, I don't know what way we would stand. But look, there is a long-term lease there. The Casey family have been superb to Dundalk Football Club over the last, it's 50 years, whatever it is, that it's been already there. So we have to be very grateful to them. And yeah, look, it would be fantastic if we had enough of a row in from supporters in the area. The trust will only work fully and work well if we get enough buy-in and if we get a large funding. And if people commit to it, it's not just a one-off. We have to realise that. This is perpetual. Now, you won't always be able to afford, we understand that. You may not be able to put in £1,000 every year. Great if you can. But this is a chance for people to come in, support, and hopefully see the results within a very short year or two. That's what we would love to be able to say, we built that, we repaired that, we paid for that. And that people could come in and see that and say, yeah, there's from my subscription line. That's the sort of stuff that we want to be involved in. So it just makes sense, and it takes the burden of any owner out there, whether he's a multimillionaire or not, a consortium, whoever it is. We're here to assist, but it's with your help, with your support. And that's the only way. We've been sitting, waiting for something to happen around Oriel Park for decades now. So now we see this as an opportunity to be able to, as I say, take on with some of these projects and to support the owners. They've nothing to fear from this. It's a chance to get engagement with the genuine hardcore fans like we have here tonight. So that's the way we want to be thinking. Thank you.
Okay, just let me remind you, we have more people up on the top balcony, and David Lennon is up there with another mic. So if anybody up there has a question, contact David, and we will relay the answers, of course, via the other mic. Question, this gentleman over here.
Hi everyone, James McCartney is my name. First of all, I'd like to commend the board on actually organising something like this and getting it off the ground. But I have a couple of questions in regards to the good governance that you mentioned in your slideshow. So the new owner, John Temple, has come out in a podcast this week, I'm sure most of the audience have heard, and he has said that he doesn't want fan involvement on the board. So my question is, how does, in the current state of play, the club is a private corporate entity, how does a public entity like this ensure good corporate governance and good governance over the club when he has said that he doesn't want fans sitting on the board? I don't want to sound cynical, but how do we address that bridge?
Thank you for the question, James. We would be hoping that if we get good support from the community, and you've heard Martin Lawler earlier in his video clip saying that the club and the community are one, or words to that effect. And so if we get good buy-in in the trust from the community, and we have a strong trust, it would beg a belief really that any owner wouldn't want to embrace that and take the trust on board. So hopefully, if we get a good pot of money behind us and get good support from the community and leverage, we will use that leverage to engage with John Temple, or if it's not John Temple, whoever the owner is. And if we do get to that position that he's saying, guys, you know, this is all good, thank you very much, I'll take what you want to give me, but you know, you're not going to have a say in relation to the club. Well, at that point in time, you know, as a trust and as a community, we would have to have serious concerns about why such an owner would take that approach. Why such an owner may be afraid of good governance and transparency. Like, what is that? That's just about running the club, your business, the proper way. And in relation to monies, investing in the proper way in accordance with law and being transparent about it. So there should be nothing to be feared there. So if we did get to the sticking point where he's saying, no lads, thank you very much, the trust and the community for your support and your financial support, but that's as far as we can go with you. At that point in time, we would have to hold an extraordinary general meeting of the trust. We would have to seek advice from the FCI and the licensing authorities. We'd have to seek legal opinion in relation to, you know, what we are being presented with. That's all I can say in relation to that. You know, the phrase, you can take the horse to water, but you can't make him drink it. But it's grand to say in an interview what you don't want and what you won't have. But when Hardy's come to Hardy's, and unless you've got deep pockets and you can afford what you don't want, well, you know, you might just have to accept what you don't want. So maybe it's not the perfect answer for you. But if we do get to that sticking point, believe you me, if you haven't trusted in this trust, you can trust the trust to put any owner that comes in that position, that we will do everything in our power to make sure that he does engage with us and we do get good governance and transparency, and we're just not going to fall aside or fall out of the way. I don't know, does that answer your question, James?
Mickey, I have a question up here.
We're going to the top balcony.
Never mind, the question was already similarly asked and answered.
We have a hand up here.
Hi everyone, Ronan Coogan here. Just a question for me. I'm really more concerned that we seem to be getting very fractured as a support base. So we now have multiple supporters groups. It's clear that there is an alignment between the supporters group. I'm not sure what happened between 1903. And I can understand John Temple's point in relation to cannibalising the money that needs to go into the club now and putting money into a trust that will be put away for a rainy day, but we need the money now into the club. So what is going to happen if the 1903 and John Temple don't row in behind this? You know, is it just going to, we're going to become more fractured? Are we going to, like, what are we actually going to do with the money? Like, is it going to be, you know, used in the future, or is it going to be intended to be used now?
Well, like has already been said, obviously people have to make their own minds up about, you know, where they feel the money is best placed. You know, ideally there should be a united situation, and we're very open to that. We're completely open to that, and we'll speak to anybody. We have no issues, and we've made that clear in all the interviews and releases that there's been over the last number of weeks. So there's still lots of time for that to happen, and we had hoped that was, you know, going to happen. I know the owner has said what he said, and look, he's the owner. Good, fair play to him. He came in and took over at a time. We wish him well when it was difficult. But I couldn't see why, he would have any fear from us. We're the fans. As we said in the introduction, we're on the 4th or 5th set of owners in the last few years. So, the model of that surely has been tried and tested and at this stage failed. It's our club. Is that not what we're saying here tonight? So, if the supporters buy into this, and if you support it, the potential is huge. We're a big club. There's a big support base out there. One of the reasons why we're only getting 2,500, 3,000 is because the facilities they're not up to it. So I think, there's an average gate out there of maybe 5,000 at least if we go with that. So look, why, we're open to talk to anybody if they are going to talk to us. And there's, ideally, this, as I say, was originally could have been a 1903 project. It still can. It still can. And it's up to, as I say, to people to decide if they're, where they feel the money is safest and where they can see the best options going forward with it. So I'm not sure if that answers your question or not, Roland, but look, as I said to you, we're all here for one thing, and that's to keep Dundalk Football Club alive. And even at this point in time, we're not 100% sure that it will be alive in the next couple of weeks. So, yeah, the money that comes in, if it's something that has to be looked at down the road, we'll have a meeting of every subscriber, and every member can come along and make the decisions then how that money is going to be spent.
Next question, the gentleman here beside us.
Oh yeah, my name's Mickey Hutchinson. Does anybody know who actually owns the club? John Temple came in and he was fronting this group, and now all of a sudden he owns 80% of it. Where is he getting the funds, or how is he getting to own our club? Or does anyone know that there's anyone backing him? Has he any backers?
Yeah, PJ, we wouldn't be aware of the internal workings of John Temple or Dundalk Football Club at the moment, except what's out in the public domain. Public domain is that he owns 80% of the club, and the 20% is owned by investors who were there previously under the Brian Ainscough regime. But as far as any other interest or knowledge, we don't have that. We're the same as everybody else. So that's as much as we can really say.
Excuse me, Michael Nixon here. Was there due diligence done on this man at Temple? As this man said here, everybody thought he was fronting somebody, and then he goes on I was reading about him during the week there, and he says he's fronting himself. And due diligence, the FAI is responsible for not doing it on the previous owner. So how do we know that this man has been vetted? Now, in fairness to him, he's coming in and reading about all the bills he has to contend with. £200,000 for the taxman, buses 50,000, people that played for us 10 years ago, another ball of money, our ex-manager still being paid. People like that should be forfeited, or certainly the ex-manager should be forfeiting whatever's owed to him, and because he got a good living out of Dundalk anyway. But just come back to the due diligence thing, we don't know where any of us stand, and I don't like to see this break away from the supporters club to the trust. And as you said, I would hope they'd all come in together, because the way it's splintered is, and by the way, Temple was a wee bit scathing of he was more or less saying people were on a bit of a journey for themselves to give themselves a clap on the back. But this trust, I read that somewhere as well, which I don't think anybody is. I believe in all the people who are on it, they're all on it for the right reasons. And all of us will be giving money towards that, and hopefully things change for the better. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. In relation to John Temple and whatever negotiations took place between him, Brian Ainscott, the FAI, anyone else, we wouldn't have that information, nor would we be entitled to know that information. But this is about the trust here tonight, and I know John Temple, and he is the owner of the club at the moment. By extension, that it was always going to be a conversation. But we must have to bear it in mind too, of course, that on that given day, when the bullet was put to the club's head, forgive me phrase, maybe that's not the right way to put it, at 5 o'clock and the doors were going to close, and the floodlights wouldn't be switched on again. We don't know if John Temple hadn't been interjected. Maybe the doors would have been closed and the lights would have been switched off. So we wouldn't be here tonight. So I think everyone should bear that in mind. You know, that only for him, we mightn't have a club at all. So all the trust wants to do is engage positively, proactively, and be a support to John or any other owner. Now, you know, it probably is disappointing that he did come out in the airways and say that, you know, that he wouldn't be engaging with us at the moment. In relation to the 1903, I'm a member of the 1903. Jerry Lennon's a member of the 1903. Tony beside me, after nudging me, I take that, that you're a member of the 1903. I don't know how many people that were at the meeting on the 21st are members of the 1903. Quite a lot of them, I think. So this idea that there's a bridge or there's dissension between the 1903 and the trust is a misnomer. That is not the case. I think we explained on our presentation that the initial draft actually said the 1903 trust. And the committee of the 1903 met John Temple. They were impressed with him. He asked that be no collecting our revenue streams or fundraising between now and Christmas. For good reasons, the 1903 felt he needed that opportunity. The trust don't have an issue with that either. But it wasn't possible at that stage then to leave the 1903 as being the formation of the trust, because to be fair to them, there were two separate things. How can you, as the 1903, say, that's okay, John, we're not going to have a revenue stream, and then a week later, you know, start forming the 1903 trust? So then the trust, and quite a number of them being 1903 members, felt maybe that wasn't the best way to go. So we set up the trust, because we really don't feel between now and Christmas we can just sit and do nothing, because we don't know what's going to happen at Christmas. There might be nothing going to happen at Christmas, but come January or February, when we need to get the team and we need to get the show on the road, that's when the pinch point's going to come. We need to be ready for that pinch point. That's what we're about. That doesn't stop the 1903, you know, from raising their own funds. They have done so successfully. Only for the GoFundMe from the 1903, we mightn't be here tonight either, because there mightn't have been a match in Waterford. And the whole thing could have come crumbling down. So I would ask people, I know it's fashionable, it's great out in social media, it's a nice talking point. There's dissension. There's no dissension with myself. Okay? There's no dissension with Tony with himself. There's no dissension with Jerry with himself. What I mean by that is the members of the trust, they can't dissent themselves just because they're members of the 1903. And in the fullness of time, we would hope when the trust gets up and gets proper leverage, then 1903 will join us in our enterprise. Well, I'll make that plea to them tonight from this forum here. There is no dissension, and I hope any conversation in relation to that is put to bed here tonight, and that we won't be listening in any other interviews. That we won't be listening here in any other interviews or podcasts with views or people trying to drive a forge between parties when there isn't one. Thank you.
Mickey, I have two up here. I'll just go with this man first.
Hello, thanks. Liam Fergus. I've got a question around some of the examples, if you could, for what you're planning on spending the money on. You touched on a couple of capital expenditure, like the development of the ground, which sounds fantastic, and I agree with in theory, but that kind of stuff could potentially cost millions, and I would imagine that a few $100,000 a year might be a realistic expectation for this trust, which hopefully you get. But how do you bridge that gap between a few $100,000 a year to potentially millions on a stand, or are you thinking more small scale? And do you just have any examples of something tangible that you've thought about?
Liam, I think, wasn't it? Liam, there's grants and there's all sorts of stuff out there. We already know that the club has money due to it in relation to the change back on the pitch and the floodlights. So what we would be doing is hoping to provide a platform, to provide a foundation into those type of jobs. Yeah, I agree with you. Like, you know, some of the work that might need to be done is going to cost millions. So all the more reason that, you know, an owner or anybody running a club would be glad of a support base who's willing to come and help them out to the tune of, even if it's only $100,000, it could be a lot more. You know, as I said, like, you know, 2,000-3,000 people go into Oriel Park every week. If half of them signed up, we could be providing hundreds of thousands in whatever shape or form. So, yeah, you know, but nothing, you know, nothing can be done if we don't make an effort to start. But we got here over the last 6 or 7 weeks when Brian Ainscough announced that he was trying to get out. There was an absolute panic around the town for a couple of days, what was going to happen, and would we have a club at all? And ordinary people like us, not people with egos, let me add, like some people have referred to us, ordinary people like us said, you know, what can we do? We need to do something. We need to try and do this for the future. We're not doing it. Look at us. We're not doing it for the next for the next 50 years. I doubt if any of us is going to be there. It's for the young and new generations coming up, that they don't miss out on what you're after seeing here half an hour ago, the great glory and success. Some of them have seen it over the last 10 years. In fact, they've known maybe very little else. Some of the rest of us have been through the hard times before and involved with the club when times was tough before. So what we're trying to do is to stop that boom-bust stuff and to have a support base. If we could get, you know, even basic things that could be still done for a couple of $100,000, there's lots could be done to just improve the place. Ideally, yeah, sure, we'd love to build a new stand on the two ends and spend 10 million. But if we have enough buy-in and enough power there, you could do a lot. Obviously with the help of grants and owners and whatever other way you can get it. So you look this week all over the news, Shamrock Rovers getting a fortune out of their academy. Loads of money. There's money out there. It just needs to be approached in the right way and tapped into. So the academy is the future and is the platform for every club, and that's how we need to be, certainly need to be supporting it. But there's enough, you know, if we get the support, there's enough there to do the academy. And look, today, Pats have a player coming up from their academy, 16, 17. He's going to Man City, possibly $1 million. Like, this is the sort of stuff there's where our team needs to be coming from over the next couple of years. We're going, if we're going to be around as a club at all, we're going to be in the first division next season. So the academy is crucial in every aspect of the club and supporting that. But we can do so much even with a few 100,000, as you said, Neil. So there's great options and there is potential out there. And I think, you know, other owners may have, you know, just had too much on their plate perhaps, and they just maybe couldn't deal with taking on with it. So, as I said here, if we get the support, why would somebody, you know, not want to engage with us? Why would they not want to tap in to the great people that's here tonight, interested in keeping the club alive and improving what's out there?
Gentlemen, Nicky McCourt here. There's two things I'd like to say. First of all, I want to talk about the lease. I want to put to bed the idea that because Oriel Park is a lease, nothing can be done to the ground. That's nonsense. Cork City's ground is leased from the Munster FA. Derry City is leased from the Derry County Council. Tulka Park is leased. The lease didn't stop in 1967 Tom McGrath and his committee from turning the ground around and putting in floodlights. And I think we should be very grateful to the Casey family that they still hold the lease. If this club had owned the ground outright 2 weeks ago, the creditors could be knocking on the door and asking for the ground to be sold, and we wouldn't even be here. The club would be gone. Yeah. So let's give the Caseys the credit or two. They're always sort of great supporter of Dundalk. The second thing is I'd like to say is to commend you on the presentation. Absolutely terrific. The other thing I want to say is I came here, same as everyone else, to support the idea of supporting the trust. All I'm hearing is, what if John Temple doesn't? What if the 1903 club doesn't come in? That is immaterial. What we should be here is in, what can we do for the trust? If for example, 1,000 people give the 520 a year, be some money coming into the trust. Every little, as every little helps. So I'm saying to people, forget about the negativity. What if they don't come in? Let's get behind the trust. It's our only hope for the future. Thank you very much.
Damien here. So just so you know, I'm part of the 1903 club. I was the person that was on. I met John Temple on that day that he said that he would not he would not encourage at the moment a public trust, so he didn't want that sort of stuff or that sort of stuff. Anyway, he went to report. He said it anyway in the reports that he did already. So so the idea that he had said that he doesn't want to do it, and the first man's conversation was quite, I don't know, dogged, as I would call it, that he would, like, why would he not take the money? But at the end of the day, he does own the club at the moment. So he did say, like, how do we know that he's going to change his mind? And even if you had the money, how do we know he's going to change his mind and say, oh yes, we do accept, you will take you, and then we're going to have you on the board and that sort of stuff. So that's my question.
Thanks, Damien. I think slide 5 tonight, we tried to address that issue, and it was in order to ensure that the football club is more transparent. The trust will seek club board positions or other arrangements as voted by the trust board or committee. We have kind of touched on this area, that if we get to the position that, you know, we have good leverage as a community and the trust representing you or talking to John Temple or any other owner with a good leverage, and he is intractable, guys, you're not sitting on the board. We've already said that we don't want to own Dundalk Football Club. We want to be supportive of it. We've outlined how we can do that. And that's why we put it on our slide, or other arrangements. You know, and that could involve subcommittees or whatever. So in other words, we know when we hand over by agreement on your behalf a sum of money, there will be an arrangement in place, because we're not in the boardroom, you know, when that money's handed over to them, that there are arrangements, signed arrangements and agreements and contracts in relation to that money being handed over, to ensure that our money, that your money, is going to be spent the way we have decided, the way that we have decided, and that will happen. So in other words, Damien, what I'm saying is, if we're not on the board, there'll be no blank checks handed over. There'll be no checks handed over, you know, for him, whatever, whoever the owner is, to do what they will. That day is gone, folks. If we've learned anything in relation to history of the Dundalk Football Club, is private ownership without the add-ons, you know, without having a supporters base, without having the added funding. That private ownership on its own hasn't worked for us, and it won't work for us in the future either. So I don't know, does that answer your question? There will be no monies handed over unless there is agreements. So if we don't have board membership, we will be having agreements before those monies are handed over.
Okay, we have a question over here.
Good evening, everyone. Jerry Scully's my name. Some of you will probably recognise me from doing some of the pitch side photography at the Friday night. I also do a fair number of games at the academy, and I just want to make two quick points. And one of them is to come back to a point that Jerry made there about the academy. I think the academy within Dundalk FC is completely underestimated by people. I think one of the positive things that has come out of the recent events is the focus on the academy. And I think when people think about the Dundalk FC academy, they think about youngsters out playing a game of football against youngsters in other clubs, similar to maybe what goes on at schoolboy matches or schoolgirl matches. That's not the case from my own experience. I wouldn't know a lot about football, but I've been around the club and I've been around the academy in particular for a lot of games. I'm also fortunate enough to do some photography with the Ireland underage teams and travel with them to some of their away games. The Ireland under-16 squad played in the UK recently in what's known as Victory Shield, a competition that goes on every year, which we thankfully won again, third year in a row. In 3 games, Ireland scored 5 goals. 4 of those goals were scored by Dundalk FC Academy players. Earlier in the year, I was on a trip in Spain with the Ireland under-16 girls squad. And at the end of one of the games, I was asked to take a photo. And next thing I realised, I was asked to take a photo of 5 of the players of a squad of 20. And then it struck me why the girls were asking me to take the picture of the 5 of them. They're all former Dundalk FC Academy players. So there's huge talent within the academy. And unfortunately, it doesn't really get the focus of the attention that I believe it deserves, because of the issues around what's going on behind the scenes of the club, and have gone on for some time behind the scenes, and because I suppose that the first team performance on a Friday night can distract from what goes on with the academy. It's hugely important. You have players that I've seen play for some of the big Dublin clubs that would play and captain some of the Ireland underage teams. They're coming from Cavan, they're coming from Monaghan. They're not playing for Dundalk. These people are travelling to Dublin to pay for the Shelburnes, the Shamrock Rovers. Shamrock Rovers have girls come up from Limerick and Tipperary 3 times a week to play for them. Just that's the length people are prepared to travel. So there's huge potential within the Louth, Monaghan, Cavan, Meath areas for the quality to come to Dundalk rather than to travel to Dublin. So, there are opportunities there around some of the, for small money, basic facilities that could be enhanced to make Dundalk Academy more attractive for some of these youth players to come to. The other point I'd like to make just very quickly is I believe that there are grants available, state grants available to organisations that are not commercial entities. And with that in mind, I believe that the staff, and I know Brian Ainscough was involved in trying to form a not-for-profit side to the club, that if that had come to fruition, there would have been numerous grants that would have been available to the not-for-profit side, which would have helped some of the community initiatives and would have helped some of the academy initiatives, which unfortunately has probably maybe gone into limbo at this stage. But there are opportunities and there are positives out there outside of the negative vibes that are going on around the club at the moment. Thanks.
Jerry, thanks for your contribution. Just to come back and comment on that, I think it's clear that the club, even in successful years, the academy structure failed a lot of young players around this town. We got a handful, maybe 2 or 3 players. One of them had to come from Warren Point. And there's a lot of good young lads up there who really could have got better, but was poor coaching structures in place for whatever reason, and very poor resources. Now, we would love our monies and our funds to go towards improving that situation, so that we see young lads and girls from this town wanting to represent Dundalk and not going up to Shells or not going up to Bows. Your point about the company, a charitable company, we understand that there was a company formed by Brian Ainscough for the purpose of exploring the potential to get grants, a not-for-profit organisation. I think it was Railway FC or something along those lines. So obviously the idea was there. We'd love to push that along and to make a contribution to it if it's viable, and if the owner, be it the current owner or future owners, are willing to work with us.
We have a question over here.
Gentlemen, Kieran Callan here. I think we just need to get to the nitty-gritty of it now. What do you need from us? What are your projections? How many people do you, in order for this to be viable, for us to go forward, how many people do you project that you need at the different levels in order for us to have enough money, not only for a rainy day fund, but to go into your capital projects in order to contribute to the football club if they're looking for additions? Because as you know, when it comes to grants and stuff like that, there has to be sometimes, particularly with capital sports grants and stuff, they have to show that they have a percentage ready to go. So if we as a trust were able to say, well, if they're looking for 10%, we can provide that so that at least we have some contribution towards it. I think we've kind of gone around in circles and different things. Let's just get down to it. What do you need from us now as supporters? We're here now, we want to do this. What do you need from us? How many at what level? So that you know that this thing can be viable going forward.
Thanks, Kieran. Good question. What we need is what you have here tonight, numbers. It doesn't matter whether you come in at the bottom level, the middle level, the top level. Just numbers. If you buy into it, if you're happy to support us, tell your friends, your neighbours, your family, anyone who you know is interested in keeping Dundalk FC alive. As you said, Kieran, I've been involved in community projects and stuff before, and funding, you need to have a good business plan. You need to show that you've got a stream or at least a base there of funding yourself. They won't just hand you a blank check when you've got nothing there. So there's no limits. It's a limited company which is there to protect the members, that there's nobody going to, end up being sued or having to pay out their own money ultimately in some shape or form. I think it's a €1 cost if it went at the worst. Everyone would have to pocket up a euro. This is the whole idea. The basis of setting up the company is that it can allow as many members as it can handle. And we can handle thousands if they're out there. So could you imagine if we got thousands of members? Some of the bigger trusts in Europe and in the UK have got thousands, hundreds of thousands. And even those big clubs out there, some of them in Europe are actually owned by the fans. Now, as I say, we have no interest in going there at this point in time. But by God, if we got enough people to sign up at whatever you can afford, the more you can give, the better. But if you could sign up and we get enough people, as Nicky said, 1,000 or more people at 500, we're 500,000 straight away. It's the possibilities are endless. So it's all about numbers. It's all about people getting in there, giving it and committing to it, as I said to you, for the next 3 to 5 years. Let's see where it brings us. We could do so much to improve Oriel Park and improve the match there and give us something to be proud of. We've been proud of the team for years. We'd like to be proud of the stadium and everything around it, the academy, as Jerry said, everything. That's the lifeblood of the club going forward. And there's just the possibilities, if we get people in and to buy into this, the possibilities are endless. And it's there for the football club. That's what it's there for. We're there just to support Dundalk FC. And as I said, it's down to the people in the area and fans all over. We've already had a massive response from Dundalk supporters living abroad. So just, there's no limits, Kieran. Thank you.
Another question up here.
John O'Callaghan. In relation to the existing owners, I think there's a bit of a bluff going on here. We've mentioned that there were 5 owners in the last couple of years. They've all passed on. You cannot make money as an investor. An investor is somebody who hopes to get money out of it. The person who comes in to own this club will have to have a tie with the club. And this is where this Supporters Trust can come in to help. I believe in Sligo, for argument's sake, that there's a lot of people already doing what we're talking about doing tonight. Sligo is a smaller town than here, has a similar love of football. Anyway, if the bluff is as I believe it is, I can't see people racing in to take over Dundalk Football Club. But whether they do or they don't, what's going on here, the extra money that this club can bring in for the purposes that the members decide is going to be vital in times going forward. So, as I say, I'd like to see this project doing well, and it's good to see so many faces. We see them in Oriel Park. I believe it will work.
Thanks very much, Sean. Okay, folks, I think we're hopefully finished with the questions. If there's anyone...
One more question.
One more,
Jerry.
sorry. Right, Nicky, I thought we were...
Maybe 2 questions.
Yeah, sorry, it's hard to see here, right.
Rory Amurku, well, here I was going to say I wasn't going to talk, but no one will probably believe me anyway. Look, I think it's fair to say an awful lot of us are probably in both the 1903 and obviously are here in relation to the fact that we have support for this trust. We all know what we're dealing with at this point in time is a disaster that's born out of a number of other disasters. Look, in fairness, see the question here in relation to due diligence. I think we can put it straight forward and say we were facing absolute disaster, we were facing liquidation, and Brian Ainscough was willing to press that button. What I can say is, at least he was willing to sell. Now, he wasn't willing to sell to everybody. He happened to sell to John Temple. It's an awful pity we didn't have the trust. If we had had the trust at that stage, and even though ownership is not necessarily the want, you had an entity that would have been able to step in, even if it was only in a caretaker way, to avoid what would have been absolute disaster. At this stage, we will all live relatively happily with First Division football once Dundalk is put in a sustainable footing. And while this isn't necessarily all the solutions Dundalk needs, it's what we can do at this point in time. If we can get the money, and fair play to the guys for what they've done, it means, as they've said before, we have the leverage. And there is no owner that won't talk to an entity that has money. And we don't know what the future holds, because whether it's John Temple or it's somebody else, or this falls into another disaster situation, we need that there is a trust that can step in and do the business. And as regards then the plans, and they're probably for a wee bit down the road in relation to making sure we get the best out of the academy, and that we make sure that everything is being done from a point of view of stadium sustainability. And that doesn't mean that we're raising the money for it. It is what people said earlier. Large-scale sports infrastructure funding, and Dundalk FC did not apply, whereas you're going to see millions going to Bows and other clubs on that basis. So we need to make sure that we can play our part, that we make sure that Dundalk FC is where it needs to be, and that will be based on this being a strong enough entity to have what has already been said, leverage. So that's it, and we are going to need support. We're also going to make sure that communication happens with the 1903. As you say, there is no fallout. If this is successful, I think everyone will get behind it. And that's literally it. This is what we can do, and this is what the reason we're here is because everyone is absolutely frightened in relation to what the future is for this club. So this is a matter of the one thing we can do from making sure there is sustainability. So Maisha.
So, not everyone done, Mickey, yeah? No.
Hold on,
Sorry.
one or two more.
One
Two more.
We need to wrap it up soon, boys and girls.
Sorry, Jerry, I'll be 2 seconds.
Right, Pod.
Guys, over the last 18 months, I've heard a lot of Dundalk fans speak negatively about owners and how they've run the club into the ground and the whole lot. I somewhat agree, but at the same stage, what have we done to stop it? So we are part of the blame here as well. We had a similar circumstance in 2012, and we all swore to each other we'd never let it happen again. And here we are, a couple of years later, in probably definitely a worse circumstance. So all I'm going to say tonight, and try and end this meeting on a positive note, this club has given all of us here some of the most memorable nights we'll ever have and we'll ever see in football. The stuff we've done for such a small club in Europe over the last 10 years under Stephen Kenny alone, you'll never see again in football. You'll never get to witness that. We were there. We were in the stands. We got to see that. So it's by time now we start giving back to the club. €260 minimum donation to witness things like that going forward in the future again. It's not a lot to ask for, folks. So never mind all the shenanigans going on behind the scenes with different supporters clubs and different groups and whatnot and people on an ego trip. This is what you need to put your money into. The supporters trust. Because that's what's going to guarantee this club going forward. Thanks very much.
Good man. We're just missing two tricks, I think, if you want to succeed at this.
Sorry, just what's your name?
Connor Darcy, sorry.
Connor, sorry. Go ahead, yeah.
Every man here, and I'm guilty of this myself, I've brought loads of fans from all sorts of weird nationalities, sorry, but I've only brought two women. One is my wife sitting beside me, and one was another girl. If you want to double attendances, triple them, quadruple them, every man here needs to bring a wife, a daughter, a sister, or any woman to the match, and straight away you double attendance. But you're going to have to offer something better than an overflowing urinal. something that they'll actually want to attend. You go to Old Trafford, Anfield, Emirates, any rugby match, the stands are full of women. That's why they're full stadiums. That's why they play in Croke Park and the Aviva. The other thing is we're missing a part of the community. I know we're the Lily Whites, but there's 3 colours in that crest. Whether you like it or lump it, 20% of the population of this country isn't actually even born in Ireland, and Dundalk is no different. But we're missing out by not tapping into that. The fastest man in Ireland, a Dundalk man, is another different colour off that flag. But if I look around, I don't see that representation, and that's 20% less in our stands in the stadium. And that's all I have to say.
Thanks very much, Conor. Listen, folks, I know...
Sorry, Jerry, just one last one. This is the last.
The one Peter Traynor, the one client that's owed an awful lot of money is reportedly 200,000 to the revenue commissioners. Now, the revenue commissioners, when they're owed that money, they don't go away. Now, they could quite easily turn the key in Oriel Park and say, right, good luck, lads. How do we address that problem? Tony, you're an accountant. Give me your answer.
That's right, Pete. Yeah. Yeah, I understand there is money owed to revenue commissioners, and you're right, there was a figure mentioned by John Temple of 200,000. He did mention that he was looking at a SCAR process, which is really where you enter into a legal process to come to an arrangement with your creditors, of which revenue are one, and there's numerous other ones we heard about. So that appears to be a process that he's intending to enter into over the next few weeks. And that's really where we'll see how revenue and what their attitude is towards the club. Because whether they're prepared to accept a write-down, I don't know, 10 pence in the pound, 20 pence in the pound, or whether they're not. Because ultimately, my understanding is that if revenue, as one of the creditors, don't agree to a write-down, well then that particular route closes. They have a veto. So let's all hope that the revenue take a very kindly view of the situation, because they're a very important player over the next few weeks.
Thanks, Tony. Thanks, Peter, for that. Listen, folks, I'm conscious it's 9:15 almost. Thanks again, all of you, for coming along. I hope that any of you had maybe some, thoughts or doubts or whatever have been satisfied tonight. And look, we want everyone to support this, and we want everyone to support the club in every way they can. We don't want the club to die. That's ultimately what we want. So before we finish up, I want again, as I said, thank you all for coming out on a wintry night. There's just one person I need to mention who, without him, we wouldn't be here tonight possibly, or we certainly wouldn't have a lot of what we've able to present to you tonight. He's put a absolutely serious work into everything that's gone on here behind the scenes. Phenomenal knowledge, ability and organisational skills, and that's Brendan Ogle. He's a bit shy, as you all know, but he's been working, slaving behind the scenes for the last few weeks, even though he has health issues and stuff, and he's been working hard and doing his best for us. But listen, we want to go out on a high. Pledge forms outside. Anyone who wants it, come on the town!